Good evening, everybody. Welcome. This is Dr. Rao, starting my room at the evening hour. Hope everybody is doing well. I was just listening to the news story how the mental health problems have worsened in the kids and the treatment facilities have gone down up until 22 statistics, I believe. Very sad, you know. A lot of kids are not having the treatment facilities. That's what they were reporting. Anyway, today, an extension of the topic that I had last night about how spirituality was the solace of my life. The same um, dialogue was repeated by somebody who is much more influential in our American life here. Philosophers, thinkers, and founding fathers, so many people. I was kind of had a paper a long time ago, like some 28 people that were doing, and then there were books written on this too. But Thomas Jefferson, Ralph Waldo Emerson, Henry David Thoreau, and Walt Whitman, Steve Jobs. So any number of people like that, they were talking about it. And upon investigating, you will find it's not about just a name or some um, ritual practices they were fascinated about. They were really fascinated about the wisdom that came through the ancients and they adopted. Thoreau, for example, he adopted the principle of nonviolence. And then when he was talking about that, Gandhi picked it from him. Thoreau picks up from the ancient wisdom, and then from Thoreau, Gandhi picks it up, and then he employs that in India. It's a freedom struggle. And Martin Luther King follows Gandhi, and then Nelson Mandela in South Africa follows Martin King. And even Barack Obama, he was very much influenced by ancient wisdom, I believe. And also, he's Al Gore, his vice president. He was influenced by the meditation, mindfulness, and all that. So, if you look at it, if you really understand, if you go and study these things without any prejudice, with open mind, the same thing that these stalwarts of the American life have done that, you know, and then brought it into the culture, brought into the institutions, brought into the educational institutions and learning institutions all over, right? So the more detail you go into, the more you'll be impressed by how much philosophy, how much concepts of consciousness and Atman, my meditation, all these things were adopted by them. That is really fascinating, right? So it's a really very good read if you could look into that with a perspective of a somebody who is inquiring into what this is all about, why they have to read that, and what were the problems that they had in their mind and in their psyche that they have to resolve with the help of this wisdom. You know, um, I kind of have been talking about this. You can be a modern man, but use the wisdom of the ancient um, people who are uh, really into this inquiry within in a big way, right? And they were not using objective studies, rather, they were going into their subjective self. And with the meditative awareness, they discovered a lot of things. That is something modern man doesn't have the time or does not know the means, and then really um, is bombarded by so many things that make us think all the time. So we don't have the time to calm our mind and look within. Okay, that's what these people did, and then they were kind of having that kind of solace from this constant stimuli, constant chatter in the mind, right? So it's a very important aspect of it to look at it. It's not about just listening to what they say, but it's about what was that made them look into this. What were the things that they had brought, like a transcendentalism, meditation, mindfulness, and even Steve Jobs, the Apple founder. I was told one of the stories I was listening. They were telling me that he went and stayed in an ashram in India. He spent some time in India, right? Everybody knows about that, and he wrote about the biography too. And when he stayed there, he had a teacher there that was very fond of Apple, and that's when he had this idea to name his company Apple. Okay, so I was tickled when I read that. And also he had an eye for self-realization. So he kind of put it like everybody should be able to do whatever they want to do, and they should follow their passion, things like that. And also he wanted all his devices and people should not have any division, because they should be able to use those devices, because what is reflected is what is inside the human being too. So many things that they created, they could enhance your self-realization too. So it is kind of fascinating for me when I read stories like that. Okay, so that's the thing we are going to explore today. As people join, I'll also ask them to give me their stories, their input on all these people. I think everybody knows the people I'm reading here, the Thomas Jeffersons, Ralph Emersons, or the uh, Walt Whitman, or these people, right? We know that. Steve Jobs is the latest one. There is Alan Watts, who lived in California. He had produced a lot of work based on that. He explained a lot of isms that people don't understand, like Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, or the major texts of that ancient wisdom. He was very instrumental in explaining, and his talks are still available, and people can listen to them too. Uh, but these Thoreau, Emerson, they are fascinating to me because they were close to when America was founded, and what kind of influence they had on the culture, on the philosophy, on the thinking of America. Okay, shaping the uh, real core um, wisdom that comes behind the Constitution, democracy, personal freedom, personal fulfillment, all those values, right? So if you look at it in that perspective, then you will discover how much we are connected with knowledge, whether it is ancient or modern. Okay, but if you dismiss wisdom from the ancients, I think we will be losing a lot. That's exactly what's happening in modern life. Okay, we are so technology oriented. We kind of want everything to be answered by something outside. You can use that devices to make your life comfortable, but if you really allow it to think for you, out of which the artificial intelligence has come, then your cognition will be enhanced. But I doubt whether your wisdom will be enhanced. Okay, that's where I think we need to understand what these ancients talked about: life, universal truths, and how we can lead a human that is enlightened and awakened within, okay, and really transcend suffering a little bit, and also spend time in bliss. Okay, that is the um, prerogative of human beings, and that is why they are qualified. But I think we are giving away our intellect, our sensory perceptions, our capacity of memory, imagination, all these things for trivial pursuits of some you know, ordinary pleasures and all that. But when we understand the limitation of these things, then we will understand what is the real happiness, what is the real nature of ours. All these people I quoted above, they were in the pursuit of uh, this kind of inner happiness, inner joy, inner light. That's they call enlightenment, is enlightened by the clarity of this universal truths and wisdom that was revealed to them by in meditative awareness. So that is the fascinating thing, how they were able to be calm, but at the highest level of intellect, and were able to look into the nature and have a very good relation with the nature and phenomena of the nature, and they understood all of that. Okay, so there wisdom is not only about our personal life, our personality, our inner nature, and also the life in general, outside life, what are the elements, how is the earth is made up of, what is the dynamics of earth that we should be really protecting them about, and also what is ultimately human life's purpose. All those things were really perceived by them, and also they concluded that every human being has the capacity to inquire like that, and they should inquire also. That means they should not be reading books, all that, but even if you read the books, take that concept or take that truth, whatever, and then find out for yourself whether it is truth or not. That's what they did, right? So they have said each human being has that capacity, but we kind of keep ourselves too so limited and ordinary and pursue things that are very temporary, and they are not fulfilling. For example, if you have a lot of money you accumulated, it may give you some pleasures, some comforts, but it won't give you that inner fulfillment. Everybody realizes that, and then people who are making a lot of money, at the end of it, they find it's very empty. And they may succumb to some vices, or they may have bad habits, addictions, and all that, or they are so lonely they do not enjoy life and they commit suicide. You know, we have seen that actors, writers, so many people, they live with this painful reality of loneliness, right? So all the products of getting lost this wisdom, and also embracing the empty modern uh, pursuits that we thought that will give us happiness. Okay, so being enlightened means knowing the limitation of the simple things, or things that we are pursuing, and really turning inward and finding out ourselves what's going on. Okay, so that kind of awareness, when we read about these great minds like Thoreau, Emerson, all these people I was quoting, if you can explore what was that they took interest in, you will be fascinated by what they had to say, and especially about ancient wisdom, about certain texts and all that. If you want to neglect, that's fine. But then, if you want to take interest and then go and read about these things and then study them, take them as investigative material, inquiring material, and then pursue them, it will reveal to you what life is about, what are the truths of the life, and that may really enlighten you and give you light to go in your life. Okay, that's what I kind of experienced. That's why modern technological stuff is good to make my life extremely comfortable, but I don't rely too much on that. But I rely on this aloneness, interconnectedness, and really accepting every is in one energy, and then really understanding the importance of serenity, calmness, or uh, solitude of mind, and spend some time in that solitude and turn our inquiry mind, our natural curiosity to find about things into these deeper matters. In a way, I feel blessed that that kind of opportunity came to me and I was able to turn that way. Okay, so as the clarity has come, as more and more things are revealed, you feel like you are liberated from so many myths or delusions, and you'll spend in reality, in clarity, in all that, right? So that's a wonderful opportunity for any human being to have that clarity in the mind. Okay. Hi, Nazli. So that's the topic for today. Many people who are notable in public life, in philosophical life, they have turned to ancient wisdom, and there are so many things written about them too. Like I mentioned, for example, uh, Thomas Jefferson, Ralph Emerson, and John Thoreau, and Walt Whitman, Steve Jobs, Barack Obama, Al Gore. All these people, they talk about this in so many ways, how it shaped their cultural, moral, uh, philosophical thinking, you know, and then they didn't have to change their religion, but they understood the wisdom from those various paths, right? And that's what I was trying to convey to you. Um, why that is? Because the answers you don't get in economic problems, the answers you don't get in political problems, the answers you don't get in psychiatry field, the political field, but you will get those answers in the spiritual realm, where you're not believing, you're not following somebody, but you open up your mind to inquire into the truths of the matter. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. And like I told you, Thoreau kind of practices nonviolence and makes a big movement. And Gandhi learns from that, and then from Gandhi, Martin Luther King learned that. From Martin Luther King, Nelson Mandela learns that. So it's there. All the documented writings are all there. So it is for anybody to look into and understand the significance of this wisdom, wherever it has come from. But once you understand it is in the realm of the human experience, either ancient or modern, and you turn to that wisdom and then let it enlighten your life. Okay, that will be very good. Okay, so that's where I'm taking you all, because I told you about how this spiritual sense, spiritual inquiry, discovering truths has been a solace of my life, clarity, inner joy, happiness, wellness. All these things are possible when you really understand your mind, your own inner joy, your own inner happiness, and all that. And once you arrive on that, then you will see the significance of this human experiential wisdom, that makes a lot of difference in our lives, I think. So I don't know how many people are really interested in finding out what this wisdom is about, and I don't know how many people want to explore with the ancient people here, like Jefferson and all these people lived before, and then they had a lot of wisdom. How did they get it? Where did they find it? What did they say about this? That's all we want to know, and then how relevant it is to our lives, how important it is now. So because leaders are not having this wisdom, they are dragging us into wars from the Ukraine war, by the, that is happening now, right? And everybody is paying for it, and a lot of human loss. And then we didn't have the wisdom to protect our earth and then to do the things that are needed even now, but we are now threatened with tremendous other problems, divisions among so many religions. We just had 9/11 yesterday. That was because of the hatred that people have for one religion or other, and then that was going on even now. um, Contrast to this, when in 1896, I think, there is this 9/11 Congress of all religions worldwide happened, and all were gathering together in Chicago, where Vivekananda comes to. But that Congress was about how to elevate harmony among all nations, and then they were really wanting to understand each religion and then be in harmony. Versus now, because of the disharmony, we kind of allowed this. That means we didn't pay attention to that wisdom, right? And now human experience has that wisdom, but we are not following that. Now this new atmosphere of information age is really allowing us to go away from that wisdom much more, because we are buried with a lot of information. We are getting neurotic, we're getting depressed, anxiety, and all that. So that's why this is relevant in this age. That's why I bring it. For myself, I rest in that wisdom. I kind of withdraw from all this madness, and that's why I enjoy peace and serenity and real quietness in the mind. And also, we have this web of joy that comes up. Okay, and suffering makes sense to use. How to not to suffer, but to transcend the suffer is also possible with this wisdom. So these ancient wisdom books or whatever they are wrote about, all the ancient people I talked about here, like Emerson, Thoreau, and all that, that makes a lot of sense if you take a investigation, curiosity, and then explore what did they say, where did they read, what is the ultimately what they are saying, what is their life philosophy. That would be a good thing, I think. That's why I would prefer you go to the original sources and read them. But it is, if you listen to these leaders, they will bring it to you. What is that they read? What is that they implemented? What is that they enjoyed in their life? That kind of thing will be wonderful for you. Okay, so that is what I want to bring to these rooms on this evening, and I hope people will take interest and curious about finding about this kind of thing, and then later on they may want to have a dialogue with people like me or people who are following it. They could always come to our rooms, or especially the one I have it on Saturday morning at 7 o'clock Central. That's where we talk about these universal truths, explore, not even talk about, explore them. And other rooms also as I'm doing them. Okay. So with that introduction, I would like to talk more about each individual person and how these truths are influencing our corporate world, our workplaces, and all that. Okay. So I will prepare a couple of videos on this, and then I'll present it to people. Okay. With that, I will take leave for today, and then I'll come back in tomorrow with more stuff elaborated on this. Thank you.